guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled It Costs Nothing to Be Kind. Just a short, happy as, a tiny ranty, I don't work here lady. I work in a grocery store and just finished my shift at work. I forgot to grab a couple small items before I left, so I quickly popped over to the dollar store across the street. It's super close to my bus stop. I had an armful, because it's never just what you went in for, and this tiny old lady asked if I could help her. Obviously, I'm not staff. It's winter in northern BC and I am bundled up for the walk from my bus stop to home. Heavy coat, mitts, ice cleats. I said I could try. What did she need? She couldn't raise her arm high enough to get the lip chap she needed. So I reached up, plucked it off the hook and handed it to her. She was super appreciative, and seemed genuinely shocked I helped. A few minutes later I passed her in another aisle, trying to get laces. I asked if she needed a hand again and passed her the laces. You would have thought that I handed her a winning lotto ticket. She said it must have been her lucky day and wished me a wonderful rest of my day. It occurred to me after I left, it costs absolutely nothing to be kind, and the fact that it seems to happen so rarely, is very, very sad. It actually makes me miss the beginning of the pandemic. People were thankful, polite, helping others. Now, sweet, little, old ladies have to be surprised if someone helps them. The next story is titled Karen Think I'm an Employee at a Ross Because I Have a Red Jacket. This happened today at Rose's discount store after service in my church. Cast. M3 Karen BK. Bratty Kid. NM. Nice Manager. Events I am a 5 feet 9 16-year-old and a cameraman for my church. I was wearing black pants, a shirt of my church and a red jacket. This will be important later. I was feeling kinda hungry after service, so I decided to buy some chips and drinks. While I was looking for some I hear someone saying ahem, behind me. I check behind me and see a lady arms crossed and pissed looking at me, and with her was a little boy. Looks to be 7 or 8. She looked like the typical Karen, yoga pants, ridiculous haircut, extra makeup. Hello? I said to her. Finally, I got your attention. I'm looking for some rugs and I need you to go check at the back. She said, excuse me mom. I don't work here. Her bratty kid cuts me off. Oh my god. Just hurry up and do what she says, he told me. Yeah. Just hurry up and do as I say. Kids these days, she said before pulling me towards the rugs section. Mom, I don't work here. I'm sorry for not helping, but I don't work here. I tried to explain her, but I just get yelled louder. Listen. Just do your job. Matter fact. Get me your manager. Those famous words. Then enters the manager. All the chaos caught the manager's attention and ran towards the ruckus. Excuse me. What seems to be the problem? The manager says with a deep voice. I'm trying to tell her to. She cuts me off again. Oh thank goodness. I want this employee fired. He ignored me and refused to help me when I asked politely. She said to the manager. Yeah, he ignored us, the bratty kid said. The manager looks at me and turns back to Karen. He doesn't work here. He doesn't have the right clothes and doesn't have a name tag. Please get away from this gentleman and have a nice day. The manager told Karen that employees had to wear a blue t-shirt and name tag. Karen finally realized that she was in the wrong and quietly said, sorry, and went off. I find it funny that she thought I was an employee. The manager said sorry for the chaos and gave me the chips and drink for free. I told my family about the incident and they laughed. Fortunately, this Karen wasn't as bad as I thought. I expected a lot worse. The next story is titled Vindictive Ex-Wife Illegally Signed Application to Local HOA in My Name. I'll start this off by saying my ex is vindictive as hell. We've been fully divorced since about right before the pandemic started. We sold the house we shared and I didn't have to pay her alimony because she cheated and we're in an at-fault state. It was messy since D-Day. All of the stereotypes. First the sobbing and then trickle truths saying, I love you. It was just one time. Okay, it was 2 years. And then the gaslighting followed by, I'm going to take you for everything, before packing her crap and walking out. I feel like I never really knew the woman my ex was in all the time we were together. We were married 5 years and together for 7. And in 2 of those 5 married years she had affairs with 3 other men. The final one being a foreign businessman of some sort from what I could find out. Yes, I got tested for STDs and was thankfully negative. Yes, she got pregnant by the final AP, and no, I didn't sign the birth certificate because I found out about the all affairs before the baby was born thanks to a call from the first AP. My ex tried to go full scorched earth on me. But since we live in and were married in an at-fault state, she lost. We didn't pay equally into our house, and the equity was divided 70/30. So I got a pretty good cash payout when I sold our marital home to put as a down payment on a different house closer to my job. It's a bit of a downgrade. But suits a single guy in his 30s like me just fine. My ex did show up to my house once. But I refused to let her in. She idioted at me that I'd financially ruined her in the divorce. I said that if she was fully willing to do that to me first, and the idiot had the audacity to say it should have been my life ducked over, and not hers. I laughed so hard and said it was karma. She yelled that she'd sue me for what was rightfully hers. I said if she was gonna sue me, then to go ahead and sue me. It'd end up the same way in court because she has nothing but a false sob story. She was the cheater, not me. I'm no angel, but I didn't do anything to her. And she was the one who ruined our marriage. She then said she'd tell everyone she could that I abused her. I said I'd sue her for defamation if she did, and I was recording our interaction and had those words saved to my phone. She went wide-eyed and her jaw dropped. The look people are calling the surprised Pikachu face. Then I asked why she was there, if not to just try and make trouble. Because she had a new man in her life that knocked her up. She just huffed at me and said he isn't around much, and she's stuck in a tiny apartment living off his child support till he comes back. It was immature of me, I know, but I did the bit of playing the world's smallest violin. She yelled at me to go duck myself, and I yelled back that I'd sooner do that than her any time. She raged at me and then got in her car to leave. Haven't seen her since. There is an HOA in my neighborhood. But I was not legally obligated to join it because the last owner of my house was not a member. I made sure of that through a real estate lawyer as well. The HOA had no grounds to force me to join, and were not happy about it. The HOA president would show up with forms every week for the first month demanding I sign them. Then she threatened to take me to court. To which I had to get a C&D sent to her from my lawyer to make her stop that. So she started harassing me by looking for any infractions she possibly could to report to the city. An inspector came out several times and found nothing wrong. In fact, I offered one of them a burger while grilling, and they graciously accepted. Did I mention the HOA hates barbecues and parties that aren't approved in advance? Well, they do. And I like to grill when the weather is good. And my neighbors actually love me for it because I invite them over. I had the police called on me several times for noise complaints because I was playing music on a Saturday afternoon while having my friends over. The HOA president I caught trespassing once when she was trying to peer into my windows. I called the police, but she denied ever doing it. So I got cameras. She hasn't trespassed since. But I still got repeated passive-aggressive letters saying my cameras were not an approved addition to my house. Some months ago I started getting letters for fines in the mail. And when I contacted the HOA, their representative claimed they had it on record that I'd joined, and needed to pay all fees effective immediately. I told them that was not possible. Then they emailed a scanned copy of the forms, and they had a signature on them. But it was not mine. It was very similar in some ways, and I recognized right away as being my ex's handwriting. She knew what my signature looked like. But it was a loose imitation at best. I got in touch with a lawyer right away over the forged signature. But the HOA still demanded to go to court. And it took 7 months before that happened. Meanwhile, they were stacking unpaid fines against me weekly, and were threatening to put a lien on my house. We went to court and the HOA president looked very smug. But my lawyer pointed out how the signature wasn't the same as mine, and was very inconsistent in the various forms. I'd never allowed the HOA president in my house, and I'd never requested the forms. The idiot HOA president actually slammed her palm on the table and said it was still binding. But when pressed where the fraudulent signature came from, she admitted my ex-wife called the HOA and they sent her the forms, then got them back in the mail signed. But then she actually claimed she'd thought I'd signed them. The judge looked at her and asked if she was serious. She confirmed she was. The judge then asked how a woman I was no longer married to, that had never even lived with me in my current residence, was supposed to have any bearing on whether or not I joined her HOA. She went quiet and I could see the, "oh crap" look on her face as the hamster wheels were turning, and she seemed to finally mentally put the pieces together. My lawyer then counterclaimed that what the HOA did was blatant fraud, and legal actions must be taken. And they were. I countersued the HOA for the emotional distress of the harassment I'd gotten since moving in. Which I had lots of proof of. That won me about 10 grand after lawyer fees that I decided to put towards my mortgage. The HOA president was removed from her throne. I like to think she was kicking and screaming. She was also slapped with a hefty fine. I've seen her outside a few times, and she always looks at me like I am the devil. The HOA itself had to pay all of my legal fees too. I wanted to go after my ex for forging my signature. But can't because not long after she forged my signature on those forms, she apparently left the country to be with her third AP. She's somewhere in Europe from what I can see of the final posts on her FB before she disappeared. So I can't do anything against her unless she ever returns to the US. So that was a wash. I'm not getting letters from the HOA anymore though. And the new president has promised to keep things completely cordial from now on. I still don't feel like I got much of a win in this though. Other than the 10K payout, it all felt like a huge waste of time. The next story is titled No Ma'am, I Most Certainly Do No Shoot for Hoyt. So this story is my dad's, but I was there to witness it. So my dad, 39M, is really into archery. I shoot as well, but I've never been as into it as he is, nor as good. This past week he registered for an archery tournament because it's his dream to be signed by a company and shoot pro. Now here's the source of the confusion. My dad's name is the exact same, like spelling pronunciation everything, as a guy who currently shoots pro for Hoyt Archery, and we live about 2 hours from where that guy is originally from. So this competition has two categories that are relevant. The bowhunter class is the non-pro class where basically it's people who have not had much competitive experience. This is the class my dad registered for. This class is closed to all professional shooters since it is the non-pro class. The other class is called Open Pro, which is open to everyone, but usually contains people with much more competition experience. The day after my dad registered we went over to my grandparents', and on the way there he got a call from the competition organizers. This is the conversation that followed. My dad will be D and the organizers will be Ow. D. Hello? Ow. Hi, is this Dad's name? D. Yes it is, may I ask who I am speaking with? Ow. Yes, my name's Paul from organizer's name. And I wanted to speak with you about a few details regarding your registration to our competition. So I can see that you registered for the bowhunter class, is that correct? D. Yes? Ow. Okay, when I saw that in the last 5 years you're competed professionally at venues such as Vegas and actually in our own arena. Are you aware that we do not allow professional archers to compete in the bowhunter class? I also saw that you're registered with an elite answer and not a Hoyt. Are you also aware that we do not allow pro shooters to shoot with anything but their signed brand? D. Trying to figure out where this missing 5 years of his memory are. Yes, I am aware of that, but I was never at any of those competitions, and I do not shoot professionally. I'm an engineer, not a professional archer. Ow. I am sorry, didn't you say your dad's name? D. Yes, that's me, but I think you're thinking of pro shooter's name, which is the same as mine. Ow. Oh, so you don't shoot professionally for Hoyt Archery? D. No, I do not shoot for Hoyt Archery. Silence for 10 seconds. Ow. Okay, well, just forget that this call happened and we'll see you competition day. They hung up and my dad and I had a good laugh, and I have a feeling if he is able to go pro that this may be a running issue. The next story is titled Please I Just Wanna Eat My Tacos. My husband and I work together with my in-laws at a small restaurant. It's the only restaurant in my town people actually go to. The food is very good, so it's not uncommon for me to walk there on my off days and get a bite of something and visit my husband-in-laws. The other day, I want to say Wednesday? Maybe? I had my husband pick me up and take me to work to grab a bite to eat and so I wouldn't be alone. Well, I'm wearing a oversized Taco Bell hoodie and camo sweats with some Crocs. I definitely don't look like the normal uniform everyone else is wearing: red shirt, black pants, black shoes, apron. I'm sitting at a table with my husband when he gets up to leave to take food out. I'm eating my food, enjoying my time with a lemonade and some tacos. When a lady approached me, "Where is my waiter?" I'm like, "Who is your waiter?" She said, "The one with long hair, my brother-in-law." I said, "I'm not sure. What do you need him for? If it's something like I need a Togo box I can just grab her one so he isn't bothered. Even if I am off the clock. We need our drinks." I go to find brother-in-law and he is swamped. Apparently her party of 12 ordered 2 blended drinks each. We make our own drinks for our tables, and only have 2 blenders. So he is making them, she had only ordered them 5 minutes ago. I go back to my table and keep eating, she comes up again. Where is he? Making your drinks. Can you go get them? Ma'am, I'm off the clock. I'm not even in uniform. She then stormed off back to her table and complained about me to my husband, who helped bring them chips and salsa. Complimentary if you eat at where we work. She told him I was very unhelpful and rude. My husband was like, well, they aren't working, so honestly I get it if I would have been in uniform, but I very clearly wasn't. The next story is titled No, I Can't Get Your Dog, and That's My Husband. Last year, my husband and I had to take our cat to the vet. She stayed overnight for surgery, and when we went to pick her up the next day, the vet's assistant at the front counter said she was listless, but okay, and wouldn't get into her carrier. So they let me go in the back to try to get her in the carrier, while my husband stayed up front and paid. I got her into the carrier, brought her up front and gave it to my husband, saying, "Here she is, seems to be fine, just tired." So I totally understand the confusion, just not the reaction afterward. As my husband and I were trying to soothe our cat before heading out to the car, the next lady in line snapped her fingers at me, and said she was there to pick up her dog and could I go in the back and get it? I said, "Sorry, I don't work here," and the assistant behind the counter had gone somewhere after finishing the transaction with my husband. The lady said, "I saw you give that man his cat, now get my dog." Don't remember the kind of dog. Again, I said, "Sorry, I'm Canadian, it's bred into mem but not all Canadians, apparently, but I don't work here and that's our cat." She again snapped at me and said, "Get my dog now." My husband turned to her and said, "That's my wife and we are picking up our cat. I'm sure someone will be up here soon to help you." The lady said, "Don't cover for her, I saw her come from the back with your cat. Are you trying to score with her? It won't work, I don't think a girl like her would go for a guy like you. Now, where is my dog?" I took this chance to give my husband the sloppiest kiss I could, saying, "You're just my type, wanna go home with me?" Just then, as well, a worker came from the back and said she could help the lady. The lady scoffed and said, "It's nice that someone here can. Your coworker here is getting all over this person and won't get my dog." The vet assistant simply said, "Ma'am, she doesn't work here, she's just picking up her cat." Then the lady said something that would have set me off if I wasn't so concerned about getting our cat in the car and home. She hates car rides. Well, why didn't she say something then? Had I not been so busy trying to leave and preparing for the car ride ahead, I would have lit into her. The cat is fine, just had a strange growth removed, but learned some colorful words I let out about the lady at the vet's on the ride home. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and post some bear emojis in the comments.